just get this show on the road. Okay, so we're going to start today off like we like to start every single group coaching. You guys are probably sick of hearing it, but we're going to start with wins. We celebrate wins, large or small. And so if anybody has some wins that they'd like to share, or business oriented, you know, speak up or forever hold your peace. Do we have any wins? Just unmute and fire away.
Antonio, you should unmute because you just told me you had a big win with a text message just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Nah, I ain't know what you meant by wins, but so yeah, I got approved by for the technical for Google service. There's a lot of backstory to that, but yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Let's just keep it real short. But my background is the best.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, you were breaking up here and there, but yeah, Antonio got approved for Google Local Services, and he was a little worried about the background check clearing, but he got through, so that'll be a great channel for him to continue to pile on with the business. So that's awesome.
Come on!
Woo! Woo! Yeah. Is there any clients here who can testify to the power of Google Local Services? Getting a couple leads from there. Okay, I see Fabio just raised his hand. Fabio, tell us the good news about Google Local Services. Antonio just got approved. He's excited. Tell us the good news about it.
When Post Price started working with me, he told me about this. I knew Google was a really good tool to use, but only the first week I got about almost 15 calls.
15 or 50 in the first week?
15, 15.
Yeah.
And I get calls from Google at least 4 or 5 every week.
Yeah.
Fabio!
Wait, yeah. And those are remodeling leads. That's not, just plumbing calls. That's the big deal.
No, it's not even remodeling. We just on handyman. I did not put my contractor license yet. So
right.
On your hand, I got a lot of balls.
Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. Appreciate you sharing. Antonio, I hope that just built your excitement here. Any other quick wins before we move on? Everybody, I don't know if we haven't congratulated Harley here in person. Harley did. His wife had a baby, so Harley is a father now. So if you haven't congratulated him, congratulate him. I'm sure he is working on much less sleep than the rest of us here in the office, except maybe Jonathan, because Jonathan Root has 2 kids, but I think they're both maybe old enough to be out of that, infant up every couple hours phase. So
I'm sleeping pretty well.
I'm present.
Any dad, we need one dad advice, one dad wisdom for Harley. Anyone's got it. I know a lot of you have some things to say, but so first one wins here. Any dad advice?
Look, I'll keep it short and sweet, man.
There we go.
Enjoy the moment. Like I said to you on the phone the other day, man. Enjoy the moments. Enjoy the little things. You'll definitely see things and you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, damn, I miss how small he is. Like my son's 11 months now and he's already getting so, I'm saying, I'm like, damn, I wish when he was little. I miss when he was littler. You know what I'm saying? Like things are gonna fly by real fast. So just enjoy.
Thank you so much, dude.
I love that advice. I think that's wisdom, not just for a new parent, but just in life in general, to enjoy the little things and to take it all in. So awesome. Well, I love starting this meeting on a high note. And so I'm going to.
Mark's wanting to say something.
Okay. Tell us the news.
All right. Look, it's about the kid thing.
Okay.
All right. Look, everybody's going to tell you that their kid came home and slept instantly. It's all lies. Nobody's kid does that. And there's a simple proof. You can't call anyone and it's actively occurring. It's only in their memory that it works like that. So just people are going to tell you that crap when you're sitting there on your 5th coffee of the day trying to stay awake. Just ignore it. It's
all lies.
It's not real.
Mark is on to something here.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to hand the meeting over here. We're going to be talking about onboarding employees. I know quite a few of my clients, I'm sure some of you can testify that right now, everybody's really kind of trying to hire. You know, we're nationally in a little bit of a hiring shortage. We're constantly trying to bring on new people. What's the best way to do this? How can I get them trained up quickly? How can I get them up to speed quickly? How can I get them inundated into the culture quickly? And so that's what we're going to be covering here today. And then we're going to break out into breakout rooms so we can make it really tangible for you and leave you with some good actionable items.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, folks, for the congratulations. Still working on being a dad. But Nicole's correct. It's about onboarding employees. And before we dive into like the weeds of how to actually onboard someone successfully, I think it's worth taking a moment to explain sort of what the whole goal is here with hiring. Because you want to onboard great employees. And I'd like to start off with a little story from a guy who's a frequent participant in these meetings and he's asked questions and chimed in before, Brent. Brent will remember this because this is the first time we ever talked. This is before he was a client. He was really close to closing with us. When he was talking with me, first time, he's telling me that he's a flooring tile business, and one of his big concerns was dealing with hiring. His current team was himself as the lead installer. He had another guy that was an installer with him, and then had a girl in the office, and that was it. 3 people for the company, and they made pretty good money with their work, but they just had trouble for years trying to bring on people and all sorts of other details. But what Brent told me on the phone for that first call is he said, you know, I think one of the big concerns here is that I'm just a flooring guy. I'm just a flooring company. I'm just a tile company. So I don't know what would be the big deal with joining my company. And I decided to push back with him on this. And this is what helped get him to get started with us. Is I told him, hey, yeah, you can be just a flooring company, or you can be a remarkable flooring company. A company that people would love to work at. A company that has its crap together. A company that has great organization, a great method for everything, and is a place people would love to work at. And sure enough, that comment struck a chord with him, and he was like, okay, yeah, let's go for it. I want to see if this is a thing. And sure enough, now, a year and a half later, we've been working. Brent has himself 4 guys out in the field working for flooring and tile, and he does get candidates every month that he gets to see that are great prospects, great character traits. And he has 2 people in the office handling sales. And a huge win that we heard recently was because he was able to build a company culture and a group that loves coming into work every day and is remarkable. He was able to take a 9-day vacation and get 0 calls for burning fires from his people. And so I say that whole story because what's the goal with onboarding employees? Obviously, it's to attract the best talent and experience possible to your company. And that is the big goal. You know, you don't want to get average people. I mean, you get the best people you can because that makes everything so much easier. And so the big question that you might want to write down yourself, really ponder, is as a company, are we doing everything we can to make ourselves look like the best company possible? When someone's applying to work for you and your company, are we really doing everything possible to make us look like, man, those guys, they got their crap together. They got an operation. Wow, it would look so great to work with them. I couldn't imagine where I could go working with this company. And then a lot of times we get the pushback that says, oh, well, there's no talent around here. I've put out job posts. No, everybody that's applying doesn't have the skills, and they don't have several years of experience. Well, I'm sure you guys have seen as contractors, but the guys that have several years of experience, A, they probably have their own character problems, which is why they're hopping around to a lot of jobs. B, they've started their own companies. Or C, you got to go far in between. And if you keep putting out job posts and make your company look great, you'll get those awesome experienced people. But as Jonathan Rude told us about today, he talked with a client about, hey, you just got to keep job posts out there, or else you're not going to find those great people. But what if the talent isn't out there? So the big question then is, okay, well, who is available to hire? There still are great character people. There still are great people that have good attitudes and want to come into work and learn. So how can you quickly train up someone who doesn't have all the skills to be an asset to your company? And this is something Brent found out about too, because we focused on this issue, because he lives in small town America. You can Google it, Silver Lake, Minnesota, that has like, I don't know, maybe less than 4,000 people, not even that, I don't know.
800, Harley.
800 people in his town. And so, so because of that, we got to look and say, okay, people that are applying, at least they have a good character. At least they have a willingness to come into work. So we got to set up checklists and early day processes to make them trained up to be assets as quick as possible. And then over time, they'll get good at all the other stuff. And so this is the big goal here. And a good thing you can think about is, on previous calls, we've talked about standing out as a purple cow with your marketing and with your sales. Well, you know what? We need to use the same purple cow principles from your sales process to attract great talent and experience in your company. You're selling yourself as a company with people that are looking for jobs right now. And we're going to get to the onboarding process. We're going to get into the weeds with it. Again, I just thought it would be great to have this big picture perspective with hiring. You be a purple cow with your hiring. So some questions. What clearly makes you stand out from your competitors when it comes to working for you? Why would a candidate work for you than someone else? Is your vision and growth for the company clear for your employees? A players and great employees love to work somewhere that has a big vision, that's really wanting to grow, that's wanting to aggressively improve themselves and expand into different areas. Furthermore, are you a good person to work for? I'm not going to call out people for this in the meeting. It's really weird. But ask this question to yourself. Are you a good person to work for? And then finally, is it easy for someone to come in and do things how you would want them to be done? And that in itself is the real reason for the onboarding process. You want people to come in and on day one have a clear idea of what the heck they're supposed to do and a pathway to becoming that great asset for your company. And some people might ask, why do we even bother? We haven't had an onboarding process for years. Why does it matter to get it now? Well, if you see this graphic, if someone's hired an office person and that office person may have come in and just quickly been reacting, like they see the mess on the desk and they see the paperwork everywhere and they're like, okay, day one, I got to clean up a mess. And that's not fun for someone who's a new employee. And you business owners may have your own experiences with this, being employees in the past. But with an onboarding process, it shows your new hire that you've got your act together. You come in day one, you have a checklist of everything that needs to happen and how they're supposed to get started, what they're going to start learning. It tells the employee right away, okay, wow, I feel secure. I'm not getting hired into a mess. This is great. It also reduces wasted labor dollars by preventing anything from being missed. I mean, in those first couple weeks, wouldn't it be great if you weren't having to have employees ask you millions of times the same questions in the first couple weeks, when you could just have it explained in a document on day one? That'd be great. And it would save you money. And it also improves the early productivity for the performance of these new candidates. And so what's the important thing for that new hire, as we've mentioned, is to get trained, get onboarded, get up and running so they can produce more revenue than they cost as soon as possible. It's good to think about it. It's a race. It's a race for them being profitable with their time. Okay, how many weeks is it going to take in order for them to stop costing us money? So step one, you got to just create it. Get it on the paper. Make it clear. And I'll give you a few examples that we've shown in a past group call and in previous some examples. We got Doyle Plumbing here, where they have a pretty straightforward process. They have training on their CRM, House Call Pro. They have timesheet requirements, etiquette. I mean, this all seems like the basic things, but it's not basic because they're new to your company. And then you have your policies for your handbook, dress code, time off. I mean, this is all the little details where it's like, God, So you got that one. Then you have an even more detailed one from Rogers Plumbing, where he's even talking about, hey, here's some of the meetings you got to go to. And hey, here's some homework actually after getting started. I mean, getting started, we want you to know what your credibility statement is. Whenever you walk into a home as a service plumber, what's your main sentence to make you a credible person they can trust as a plumber? It's a big thing in his company, and he wants that figured out right away. And we even go into words and phrases you shouldn't use with a homeowner. And it kind of makes sense that as a plumber, you wouldn't want to just, casually talk about nipples with a customer. Instead you say pipe extenders. And it's just like these little details that if they aren't acknowledged, it might happen and it might make bad situations.
I gotta pause for a second because I see boys never grow up. I see Josh, I see Brent. You guys are just like giggling. Just
Pipe
because
extender.
Harley, just because Harley said the word nipples, the guys are like, like that is like.
Okay, but it's funny.
No, it was the pipe extender that got me.
I love it. I love it. Boys will be boys. It's great.
I'm still 13 years
I see
old.
Robert must have heard us talking, and now Robert's like, "Ooh, I'm missing out. I've got to join."
So there you go. Point being taken here. And so these are good comments, good things to note on the onboarding process. But then on top of that, we, take our own medicine. We have our own onboarding process, and we've actually needed to revise it because we're hiring a couple people on soon. And so we've got our own homework processes. And a part of that homework, we even have our own literature that our employees should read, because this literature has been important to solidifying the culture of who we are, who works with us.
Literally just got done sharing our updated onboarding process to finalize with our graphic designer, literally right before I got on this call.
Wow. So this is the first step. Get it in writing, create an onboarding checklist. Second step, schedule 2 hours on a new hire's first day for onboarding. Just 2 hours where you're sitting with them and you're going through this checklist, getting him going through all the details, answering all their random questions that every first employee asks. But it's great to do that now right at the beginning instead of like 2 or 3 weeks after they've been working with you. Again, we're reducing wasted labor hours and dollars when we could sort that out right away. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if you think that 2 hours on the first day is too much to commit to, consider this. In the first 3 weeks, if you spend 20 minutes a day with that person, just random questions here and there, they keep drawing on your time throughout the day. Well, that adds up to way more than 2 hours real quick. And so you're saving yourself time, really. Even though 2 hours seems like a lot, you're saving yourself time.
Step 3, block off time for ongoing training. As Tim has mentioned to us plenty of times before, people need 1,000 nudges. And the big point about this is yes, you can take the 2 hours at the beginning to get them going on the onboarding checklist, but how many of us business owners know that you tell someone to do something once, that doesn't mean they automatically do it. In fact, it takes probably, hopefully not 1,000 nudges, but sometimes it takes literally that, almost that many times. And so we can't expect anyone to get it 100% right after just one conversation, even with a checklist and even with documented systems, because we're human beings. And this whole notion of maybe in the past or maybe in your previous experience, a figure it out or a trial by fire culture has been the norm for a lot of companies, especially small businesses. But we wouldn't be good consultants if we didn't tell you that that was wrong. That's not the recommended way to train people.
Wrong.
And not to mention, it's ineffective for long-term success, you know, because if you start people out that way as employees, then you grow and get more employees. They're going to start training them that same way. So you're growing dysfunction. And the best companies have regular ongoing training for their technical skills. So I would find that space and time, if you have a group of people that work with you, even just one sales guy that you've got, it's good for you to huddle up with them at least once a week and review how good the sales are going. How are these appointments going? Can we have places to improve?
Hey, real quick, Harley, can I touch on the note real quick if you go back to the last slide? So the people need 1,000 nudges. That quote, my dad is in my own leadership and management training has reminded me of that for years. And the primary focus of that quote it's not even about like the literal number. It's to really just set the expectation that people need to be reminded of stuff again and again and again. And that's just the way it is. Meaning that I've seen a lot of business owners, I myself have gotten frustrated at people, I've gotten stressed out needlessly, because like in my mind, you know, as one of the owners of Redmond Growth, I think, well, I developed this process, I went over it with them, they should know it. But to that person, it's a brand new thing, and they've got 1,000 other things in their mind that they're learning and absorbing. And so it's more of a quote to set a certain emotional state. Hey, when you're getting someone on board, when you're training someone, just have the expectation that you're gonna have to remind them how to do that a lot. You're gonna have to repeat yourself a lot. Don't get like emotionally frustrated or overwhelmed or angry or bent out of the shape. You know, if that person is being negligent or if that person isn't listening or paying attention, that's a different story. But sometimes just people need to be reminded of stuff 1,000 times. So just set that expectation for yourself, and that's going to remove a lot of the emotions and frustration that can come with, you know, reminding people of things.
And then this last step is to have the team assess the new employee. If you bring in someone on, you have other people that you've hired and they've stayed on with you. They understand the culture. You know, they've done a good job in being a good employee. Well, you want to repeat those good employees, right? So have the team assess the new employee, give you the feedback, you know, the honest feedback about how they're doing in the first day, how they're doing in the first week. And because you can't just rely on your own judgment here, because you're the business owner, and it's not like you're going to be a hawk watching every move that they make, because none of us is as smart as all of us. So take the feedback from your team and really trust it, you know, because you hired good people and you kept them on for a reason, you know. And so as I stated at the beginning, we've got this overarching goal where we want the best talent and experience possible. And to do that, we got to make ourselves look like the most reputable, remarkable company that stands out in front of all the other companies that they could go to, even the big boys. And so we got to start people on the right foot and have a great onboarding checklist to start people on day one, viewing the company that they're going to join as a remarkable group that they want to spend years and years and years with. And so this is our time now to break out into these breakout groups. And what you'll be doing is you'll spending time with one of us. We'll be asking you quite a few questions about whether or not you typically start people, train people with all the beginning processes and questions. And if not, take those down. And if you do have an onboarding process, we'll go through and help audit those for you and probably find some areas that you can add with the new employees and even the current employees where you just haven't taken time to review important details with them yet. And so unless anybody has any last minute comments, I think Bryce, it's your time to shine in breaking us out.
I'm ready to shine. All right.